The courtroom was silent as the judge prepared to deliver a decision that could destroy everything. Reporters crowded the back rows. Lawyers shuffled stacks of documents. Across the room sat a tired single father whose entire business empire was hanging by a thread. 15 years of sacrifice, struggle, and hard work were about to disappear. His hands trembled as he stared at the polished wooden floor. Then the courtroom doors opened. A young woman stepped inside carrying a thin leather folder. Nobody expected her arrival. Nobody knew that within the next hour she would reveal a truth powerful enough to change everything. And nobody could have imagined that 15 years earlier, she had been a homeless little girl sleeping on a cold park bench. Before we begin this emotional journey, please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to TrueTaleTime if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of changing someone's life through a single act of compassion. 15 years earlier, under the bright afternoon sun of a busy city, Owen Mercer was doing his best to survive. Life had not been kind to him. His wife had passed away after a long illness, leaving him to raise his 6-year-old son alone. Money was tight. Every day felt like a battle. He worked long hours repairing industrial equipment while trying to be both mother and father to his child. There were nights when he barely slept and mornings when he wondered how much longer he could keep going. Yet despite the hardship, Owen refused to let bitterness enter his heart. One warm afternoon, while walking through a city park after a meeting, Owen noticed a small girl sitting alone beneath a tree. She looked no older than 8. Her clothes were worn, her hair was tangled, and she clutched a torn backpack as though it contained her entire world. People passed by without noticing her. Some noticed but chose to look away. Owen initially continued walking, but something made him stop. There was a sadness in the girl's eyes that reminded him of the loneliness he had seen in his own son after losing his mother. The girl's name was Aria Bennett. She had spent months living on the streets after losing both parents in a tragic accident. With no close relatives willing to care for her, she had slipped through the cracks of the system. She survived by collecting discarded food and sleeping wherever she could find shelter. Fear had become her constant companion. Trust was something she no longer believed in. Owen could have walked away like everyone else. Instead, he bought her lunch. Then he listened. Then he helped. What started as a simple act of kindness slowly became something much bigger. Over the following months, Owen worked tirelessly with social services, attended endless meetings, and faced criticism from people who thought he was making a mistake. He already struggled to support one child. Why take responsibility for another? But Owen saw something special in Aria. Beneath the fear and uncertainty was a brilliant mind and a resilient spirit. Eventually, after months of legal procedures, he officially adopted her. The day Aria entered her new home, sunlight poured through the windows as if the universe itself was blessing a new beginning. The years that followed were not easy. Aria carried emotional scars that could not disappear overnight. There were nightmares, moments of doubt, and days when she feared being abandoned again. Owen never gave up on her. Whether helping with homework, attending school events, or simply sitting beside her during difficult nights, he remained steady and patient. His son welcomed Aria as a sister, creating a bond that slowly transformed their broken family into something beautiful. Meanwhile, Owen's career began changing. What started as a small repair business gradually grew into a respected manufacturing company. He worked relentlessly, often sacrificing personal comfort to build a future for his children. Years passed, and the company expanded across multiple states. Investors arrived. New opportunities appeared. Eventually, Owen became the owner of a thriving business empire worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Aria flourished as well. She excelled in school, graduated at the top of her class, and earned a scholarship to study law. Her professors admired her intelligence, discipline, and determination. Yet despite her success, she never forgot where she came from or the man who had given her a second chance at life. Then disaster struck. A powerful competitor named Victor Hale launched a vicious legal attack against Owen's company. Victor claimed ownership of several critical patents and accused Owen of corporate fraud. The allegations spread through the media like wildfire. Investors panicked. Business partners withdrew support. Stock values plummeted. Years of hard-earned success began collapsing within months. The legal battle stretched on for nearly 2 years. Every hearing seemed to favor Victor. Witnesses appeared with damaging testimony. Documents surfaced that painted Owen as dishonest. Even some of his closest associates began losing faith. The stress aged him dramatically. Sleepless nights became routine. For the first time since adopting Aria, Owen felt powerless. As the final court date approached, experts predicted a devastating outcome. If Owen lost, his company would be dismantled, thousands of employees could lose their jobs, and everything he had built would vanish forever. The courtroom filled early that morning. News cameras waited outside. Financial analysts expected a historic corporate collapse. Owen sat quietly, exhausted and defeated. Then the doors opened. Aria walked inside. Now 23 years old, she had become a brilliant attorney. Yet her appearance alone was not what stunned the courtroom. It was the confidence in her stride and the evidence she carried. Unknown to everyone, Aria had spent months conducting her own investigation. While reviewing old records, she discovered inconsistencies in Victor Hale's claims. Digging deeper, she uncovered a hidden network of forged documents, bribed witnesses, and fraudulent transfers designed to frame Owen and seize control of his company. One by one, Aria presented the evidence. Financial records. Archived communications. Secret agreements. Each revelation struck like lightning. The courtroom atmosphere changed instantly. Faces once confident became pale with shock. Victor's legal team struggled to respond as the truth unraveled before everyone. Hours later, the judge delivered a stunning decision. All allegations against Owen were dismissed. A criminal investigation into Victor Hale was ordered immediately. Owen's company was cleared of wrongdoing. For a moment, Owen simply sat there in disbelief. 15 years earlier, he had found a frightened homeless girl sitting alone beneath a tree. Now that same girl stood in a courtroom and had saved everything he spent his life building. Tears filled his eyes as he realized something extraordinary. The greatest investment he had ever made was not in factories, contracts, or business deals. It was in a child who needed love. As reporters rushed to cover the dramatic outcome, employees across the country celebrated. Thousands of families kept their jobs. The company survived. But the real victory was far more personal. It was proof that kindness never truly disappears. Sometimes it travels through time and returns when you need it most. If this story has touched your heart so far, please like, share, and comment below because your support helps spread stories of hope and compassion to more people around the world. Special request, comment, kindness comes back if you believe one good deed can change a life forever. That evening, under the warm daylight fading into a peaceful sunset, Owen and Aria stood outside the courthouse steps. The city buzzed around them, but neither paid attention. They simply looked at each other with gratitude that words could never fully express. 15 years earlier, one act of compassion had rescued a little girl from homelessness. 15 years later, that same act of compassion saved an empire. Their story became a reminder that true wealth is not measured by money, buildings, or power. It is measured by the lives we choose to lift when nobody else will. And sometimes, the person you save today becomes the person who saves you tomorrow.